What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Your boys, Derek and Cody, with you as always. And guys, legal tampering is finally among us. Cody, the NFL free agency period has arrived, man. How are you feeling now that it's finally here?
Feeling good, man. It's always a fun time of year to see where these different free agents will go, and obviously what the Indianapolis Colts will do and all that kind of stuff. And so doing good, man. It was definitely a busy day for the Colts. I know a lot of internal stuff today for the Colts. But Derek, I think the big thing is the Colts got a lot of their core guys back that we wanted them to get back and hope they get back. And there's still a couple guys that you hope they do re-sign. But Derek, on the whole, we knew the Colts were going to have a lot of guys here set to hit free agency, and definitely great to see them bring back multiple guys today. And by the way, also, get an early extension done with Zaire Franklin as well. So definitely a great day for the Indianapolis Colts. And, used a decent amount of their cap today, but Derek, the Colts still have a lot of cap space to work with here. And so I know a lot of people are disappointed when the Colts don't do stuff in day one or aren't kind of in tier one free agency. But Derek, while there were a lot of big signings today, the good news, Derek, is that for the most part, now there were a few guys that were, did hit free agency and stuff like that, and did get signed today from free agency. For the most part, Derek, a lot of the guys that we were targeting and realistically thinking the Colts should go after are still available. I mean, L'Jarius Sneed, that trade's still, potentially a thing. A lot of safeties. I know Xavier McKinney got the bag, but yeah. And also now you got to figure out your backup quarterback. And so there's a lot there, Derek, today. But I know you're pretty happy without Gardner Minshew, so he can't drive you crazy anymore. And also, that's crazy that he got that kind of deal, man. Good for him.
I know, and I think that's what shocked everybody is that that's for sure something we're going to talk about here in a moment, guys. But we do have a video going up right now of me talking about the quarterback situation and whether or not, we get one in the draft, whether we get one in free agency, whether we trade for one. Apparently, we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. So you guys definitely want to check that out when it gets there. Hey, listen, we have 455 people watching this stream across all platforms right now. Be sure to like the stream, guys. Wherever you guys are watching this at, it helps it get out to more people. Be sure to comment if you haven't yet, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We've hit 18,000 subscribers on YouTube already, and we'd like to continue to grow that number. We will be here for all of your Colts content needs during free agency, and we're just getting started. But yes, let's go ahead and hop into, we're going to go ahead and talk about what has happened today for the Indianapolis Colts first, before we start talking about any of the rest of the names out there who have been signed, who might be signed, all of these different things. So we'll go ahead and hop into those. But first thing first, Cody, it wasn't even a re-sign of a free agent this year that happened. It was the first news for the Indianapolis Colts. It was the linebacker Zaire Franklin who was getting a extension this morning at 8 a.m. Thanks, Colts, right before I had to go to work.
Hey, you got it up, though.
I had to hurry and get that video up this morning. But yeah, we were able to see that. The Indianapolis Colts go ahead and extend Zaire Franklin, who was going to be a free agent in 2025. So now you have the situation where his extension does not do anything for the Indianapolis Colts cap this season. It only takes into effect next season when the cap is most likely going to increase once again. But I mean, what was your immediate thoughts, Cody, when you saw Zaire Franklin's getting an extension and he's sticking around for the next couple years?
Real quick before I do that, Derek, thank you to the over 600 people in here. Derek, can I share the goal that I texted you last week before the draft? Sure. Our goal is to reach 20,000 subscribers. So you guys obviously been tremendous, and we're very thankful for 18,000. But that's kind of the lofty goal that we have for sure. But anyway, Derek, in regards to Zaire Franklin, I mean, well-deserved. I mean, absolutely well-deserved. It's good that the Colts were able to get this deal done now. And Derek, I mean, I really think that when you look at that number for Zaire Franklin, I personally was like really like shocked, like you got him so reasonably. I mean, this dude just broke the franchise record in tackles, Derek, and you got him, you know, for what was it, like $10-11 million, something like that. Mm-hmm. So you got him for a pretty reasonable deal, all things considered. Let me pull up the contract here. I should have that up, but let me pull up that contract real quick for you when it comes to that. Sorry, I should have had this prepared, man. Now you can never find it. Okay, yeah. So here we go. Sorry about that. 3 year, $31.26 million, Derek. So, you know, a hair over $10 million that you paid Zaire Franklin, I think, for one of the best linebackers, tackling linebackers in the NFL. That's a pretty good deal for a guy that just broke your franchise record in tackles. And so it frees you up, Derek, for moving forward. And so that's definitely a great thing. And Zaire Franklin's deal, Derek, doesn't kick in, I believe, till next year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Next year. Yep.
Till next year. So it frees you up cap space wise this year. And you feel like, man, you got some flexibility moving forward. So definitely love Zaire Franklin. Love that he's going to stay in Indianapolis Colt for a while because, Derek, that's your heart and soul of your defense right there. And you're able to get him for a little under $11 million. So definitely love that. Shout out to Zaire. Definitely well-deserved, my friend. And glad she's going to be an Indianapolis Colt for a long time, Derek, hopefully. And, Derek, I mean, talk about just a story that you love to see. Zaire Franklin, 7th-round pick out of Syracuse. I remember Colts took him. And, Derek, this is going to sound really dumb of me now, but I remember not really, like, caring for Zaire Franklin his rookie season because, you know, he was a 7th-round rookie. He had struggles. He had to play a little bit. I don't know if you remember that, but I mean, he was young, and I actually preferred Matthew Adams at the time. Now, glad to say I was completely wrong, and Zaire, with the opportunity, has really taken it and has run with it. So definitely think it's well-deserved for Zaire. Love to see that he's getting the love that he deserves. And, man, Derek, talk about paying your own and rewarding your own. Zaire's a guy that, I mean, out of anybody, man, he's the guy that's probably earned it out of anybody in this roster because he has just come from nothing, basically. Being a 7th-round pick, and he has turned it into being one of the best linebackers in football. So love that.
Absolutely. Well, hey, listen, guys, over 800 people watching on the stream right now. Again, thank you guys so much for everyone who's tuning in. Be sure to like the stream wherever you guys are watching. Greatly appreciate that. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. All that great stuff. We're discussing Colts free agency and everything else going on today. Yeah, so for that contract for Zaire Franklin, just to kind of give in perspective here, the NFL's highest paid linebackers in 2024, inside linebackers, with Zaire's contract the way it is right now, would put him at the 7th highest contract in the NFL for linebackers. Some of the highest ones, Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith, who's making $20 million a year. Fred Warner making 19, Tremaine Edmonds with 18, CJ Mosley with 17, Alukan with 15, and Bills linebacker Matt Milano is making 14.2. So it definitely is one of the higher contracts for sure in the NFL, but it's nowhere near the top of the market. So you definitely got a very good deal. And like you said, this is a guy who has become the vocal leader of the Indianapolis Colts. He is the captain of the Indianapolis Colts, not just the defense, but the team in general. This guy was very pivotal to continue to bring back. And Indy was like, hey, you know, it won't take into account the cap for this year. We'll go ahead and just make that deal done in there. But let's go ahead, Cody, hop into the next one. And it's the one that everyone has been waiting to see, and that is the deal that Michael Pittman got. Apparently, that deal was actually done like last week when the franchise tag was placed on him. He just couldn't he couldn't like verbally accept it. while there because he was on vacation at the time when this deal was actually written out in stone. So, it's one of those situations, but apparently they've been sitting on this deal for pretty much a week. But Michael Pittman gets a 3-year deal worth $71.5 million, with $46 million of it guaranteed. So just shy of $24 million a year for Michael Pittman. What do you think, Cody, of that contract for Michael Pittman's sake? Oh, you're muted. Cody, you're muted.
That's embarrassing. Anyway, yeah. So major props to Chris Ballard and company. And I mean, Derek, props to them for getting this deal done here before the start of, this whole thing where next year the cap's rising and you probably have to pay him more. Shout out to them for getting that done and figuring out that contract deal, and getting him locked in long term. I mean, Derek, 3 years, that's right down the trajectory of Anthony Richardson's development. And I believe they signed him to a 3-year deal instead of a 4-year deal so that he would have the opportunity to earn another extension before he turned 30. So definitely love to see that. I mean, we talk all the time, Derek, about supporting your young quarterback, giving Anthony Richardson the support that he needs. And what better way to do that, Derek, than re-signing clearly your best guy, your best receiver by a long shot. Now, we liked what we saw from Josh Downs. We liked what we saw in spurts from Alec Pierce. But again, like Michael Pittman Jr. is your clear number one, and it's not really even close. I mean, Derek, look back at that Atlanta game. I mean, no doubt in my mind that Michael Pittman Jr.'s loss in that game and his unavailability due to the concussion, I mean, huge reason, Derek, why the Colts, didn't get anything going in Atlanta. So definitely love to see Michael Pittman getting the money that he deserves. And, it's nice to kind of have that deal locked in. So now you have, obviously you have Anthony Richardson, you have Jonathan Taylor, who you extended last year, and now you have Michael Pittman Jr. So you kind of have your core guys locked down for the next number of years. So you definitely love to see that. You definitely love to see supporting Anthony Richardson in that way, and you love to see that Michael Pittman Jr. getting the deserved love for sure. And so definitely love to see that. And, man, Michael Pittman is just I feel like he's such an Indiana guy, man. I mean, he's out there farming and doing all this stuff, and it is truly home for him. So that's why, Derek, when so many of those, accounts that try to, get out interaction and stuff were posting, what if Michael Pittman went here? What if he signed with this team? I'm like, there ain't no way that Michael Pittman Jr. leaves Indianapolis. And we saw that. And there's no way the Colts are going to let him leave. He is so valuable to what they do. And so definitely great to see Michael Pittman Jr. get that kind of contract. And Derek, we were kind of thinking around that number, right? We were thinking, between 23 to 25 million, so a hair under 24. So we're kind of right in that ballpark, for what Michael Pittman was going to get. And don't have to worry about that. Now you got, your guys locked up for a while. So, yeah, well-deserved for Michael Pittman Jr. Definitely he's a guy that just, with all that he's played, with all the turmoil, the different quarterbacks, all that stuff, I love to see the fact that the Colts are rewarding him for still going out there and producing, Derek, despite who his quarterbacks have been over the years. So shout out to Michael Pittman. Definitely well-deserved. Welcome back to Indy, man. Can't wait to have you back.
And then, of course, it doesn't end there. The Indianapolis Colts went ahead and re-signed 2 more players today. Tyquan Lewis gets a 2-year deal worth $12 million. And also Grover Stewart gets a new deal, a 3-year deal worth $39 million. So, they locked down their defensive run stopper and their third edge guy. What did you make, Cody, of these contracts for this?
Yeah, I mean, Grover, a little bit more expensive than I think we were hoping for, making $13 million or so per year. So a little expensive there on that front. But again, Derek, we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. He's so critical to what your defense does. And you saw the impact with and without Grover last year. I mean, he was so important for you. And so definitely think that, both these guys, you'll love to see both these guys back. Tyquan Lewis, I know for a lot of people, they're like, why are you bringing him back? And people were saying wasting money. And Derek, when I looked at Tyquan Lewis and you looked at some of the stats a little bit, I mean, Tyquan Lewis, Derek, was secretly, and we don't really talk about this, he was one of your best pass rushers last year. His pass rush rate was one of the best in the NFL, one of the best on the Colts, excuse me. And, for a team that, consistently lacks pressure at times, I mean, it's great to see Tyquan Lewis, who, despite playing 37% of the snaps, Derek, I mean, you see what he was able to do last year at getting after the quarterback. It definitely was a great thing. And really the biggest thing for Tyquan Lewis, Derek, is just been the health, the last couple of years dealing with, some of these injuries that he's dealt with. But I definitely love to see it, Derek. You love to see those kind of like redemption comeback stories. And I love to see that for Tyquan because, I mean, this is a guy that, the Colts had really, they didn't need to re-sign Tyquan, especially after the second injury that he suffered. But they gave him one more chance. He came back. He played all 17 games. And he wasn't just like a feel-good story, Derek. I mean, this guy legitimately was helping your football team last year. So I'll pull up the stats here. So in the 17 games he played last year for the Colts, he had a team best 17.1 pass rush win percentage, and he was also third on the team in total pressures. Despite the fact that he only played in 37% of the snaps defensively, Derek. So, I mean, Tyquan is a guy that definitely deserves all of the, praise that people are throwing on him because nobody really talks about Tyquan. But I think he was secretly really good for the Colts last year. So definitely glad to get him back on a relatively cheap deal. Like $12 million in total, so like $6 million per year. I mean, I'll take that for a guy that's going to consistently give you some production off the edge. So definitely love to see that from a guy like Tyquan. And we already talked about Grover and how important he was, Derek. And so just bringing back some of your own guys, definitely love that. Absolutely. But Derek, saying that, there still is work to be done. There still is work to be done for the Indianapolis Colts. I know we're going to get into that, but you still got to figure out what are you going to do with Kenny Moore? What are you going to do with Julian Blackmon? I mean, this safety room outside of like really Xavier McKinney and a couple other, Kevin Byard, I guess, is another one. But this safety room through one day, Derek, is virtually untouched with this market right now. And so there's a lot of things the Colts have to decide on what they're going to do here. And also, Derek, I do have the question of like, where are the Colts with the L'Jarius Sneed stuff? Like we've heard some rumors, but then it's been dead quiet on that front since then. So is something in the works potentially for the Colts? I don't know. I don't have any sources. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know at this point. But what I'm saying is the Colts still have some things that need to be done. Today, really, Derek, seemed like taking care of some of your own guys. And hopefully maybe we'll get another extension here before the day's done. I mean, it's only 7. So my time, it's only 7. So yeah, hopefully we see a Kenny Moore extension, potentially Julian Blackmon as well. I would not mind that.
I mean, remember, Cody, I think, what was it like this time last year at the end of the first day? Wasn't that like at midnight when we signed Matt Gay? So, I mean, don't leave it out of the question that there will be some trades throughout the night and some free agent signings throughout the night as well. So, yeah, I mean, everyone, this is just getting started. I mean, and that's the problem is like for a lot of people, there's a lot of names that have gone early. Yes, I totally get it, guys. But at the same time, like there's a lot of names still left to be had. And there's still a lot of situations for the Colts to be able to continue to keep moving forward. So don't hang your hats just yet. But again, shout out to the 1,200 people watching this stream right now across Twitter, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Please, guys, make sure to like the stream wherever you're watching. Help us reach more people. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We greatly appreciate it. Paul Wilson with the $5 super chat. If Derek loves breadsticks, what does Cody like food related? Well, you got to answer that question.
I like about anything, man. I'm not really that picky. I'll take breadsticks as well, or really anything, man. I love food.
Sounds good. But yeah, like you said, man, I mean, it's one of those situations now. So Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon, those are the two guys that we gotta wonder when is Indy gonna have it done next. Now, obviously, it's still a lot of time. Kenny Moore might be checking to see what he can get on the market. I will admit this, when you look at like when it comes to corners that have been signed so far, I mean, you look at say Chidobe Awuzie, right? Who actually just got signed by the Tennessee Titans, 3-year contract worth $36 million. He's pretty much the same age as Kenny Moore, you know? So, I mean, you think, Cody, that's probably about where the contract's going to be for Kenny Moore if he's looking at that right now?
What was the contract? Sorry, I missed that.
It was a 3-year contract worth $36 million, so $12 million a year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe so. 12 million, that wouldn't be too bad. You got roughly, what, 30-some million left? So
I'm thinking that right now, as we stand, there's a couple things that need to go into play. We don't 100% know. We don't 100% know like every detail of every contract yet, but they're saying anywhere from 28 million to about 32 million right now.
Oh, wow.
Is what we're thinking.
Yeah, and you could still make some, like we talked about, restructure some guys or make a cut or two or something like that. So you can still like work the cap if you absolutely need to, Derek. So, yeah, I mean, the fact that you have roughly 30 million right now, that would be great, man, for you to be able to get, you know, if you were able to get him and Julian for under 20 million combined, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. Then you would have roughly 20-some million that you could work with if you wanted to go take a swing at a free safety or whatever you want to do, or if you want to take, you know, if you're going to go trade for a guy like L'Jarius Sneed, you can make that work. You know, if you have to clear a couple million to make it work, you can do that, you know? So I do think that the Colts will, and Derek, you know, we've heard, and I know there was from Ari, I don't know if you saw this, Derek, but the Colts are expected to be pretty aggressive in free agency. And I know some people will say, bargain bin Ballard, he didn't do anything today. Like, why would, that's silly. But Derek, I think people, when they think be aggressive, they think go and sign all the top guys for like the top market money. But I think, Derek, maybe we see more of the day two type of things. Look, he's soon with Ballard, but he signs a decent amount of guys here. I could see that happening, Derek, a little bit more here with the Indianapolis Colts. But it maybe won't be what people think when they hear the word aggressive in free agency with the Colts. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking with it.
Yeah, I mean, again, there is still a lot of time and there's still a lot of things left to be in place. I mean, we don't know if they're going to re-sign Julian Blackmon. We don't know if they're going to re-sign Kenny Moore. That's just going to be something we're going to find out as time goes along. It'll be interesting for those guys. And, you know, we talked about it. No doubt that Ballard is going to make moves in the secondary. I think it's just hilarious the amount of people that are just like, Ballard needs to be fired after, again, another 7 hours of, you know, not signing a corner or a high-end corner or a high-end safety to an $18 million contract. Listen, guys, we both wanted Xavier McKinney in this chat. There wasn't a bigger fan of the Colts trying to get Xavier McKinney on this team than us two right here. I mean, seriously. But I mean, Cody, were you really expecting the Indianapolis Colts to dish $18 million out for Xavier McKinney? I wasn't thinking that.
No, probably not. And again, you just didn't know with this market how much. So that kind of sets okay. That's kind of the precedent now. So we kind of know a little bit what must, you know, what's kind of the market for these guys. So if that's kind of the top money, okay, then what do some of these other guys get? Like the Justin Simmons, like the Cameron Curls, like Julian Blackmon. Like, what do these guys realistically get with this type of market, with this, talk about the saturated safety market that it is right now. So I personally think, Derek, and I even posted this on Twitter. So if you haven't gone and checked that out, be sure to do that. But I said, Derek, as much as I love Xavier McKinney, I mean, he was my guy. Like, I wanted the Colts to go get Xavier McKinney. The reality is, Derek, there are so many more safeties still available for the Colts. And, like, why would you pay a guy 18 million, you know? Like, if you can get a guy for half that can make, it's not going to be Xavier McKinney production, but he could still be a Pro Bowl caliber player for you. You know what I mean? Like, And with right now, it might get a little tight because if you're still wanting to get, re-sign a couple of these guys and still sign a corner, make a few splashes on day 2 or day 3 or whatever it is, then that might have to be the route you go. So it may not be a 24-year-old safety that's getting paid $17 million. It might be, a guy that's getting paid, I don't even know, like $8 or $9 million. It might be something like that. So that's kind of where I sit with the safety room right now. It's like, yeah, as much as we wanted Xavier McKinney, you can still get quality players at the safety position, for that won't be anywhere near that kind of price tag. Oh, you're now you've gone muted, Derek.
Yeah, I know. It's because the dogs.
You did what I did.
The dogs are in the back barking, and I had it like that so that way it would avoid that situation.
Good old Colt.
But we'll make sure to keep posting, guys, like whether or not things are going different for the Indianapolis Colts. But guys, almost 1,400 people watching the stream right now. Please, again, guys, make sure to like the stream wherever you're watching it so it helps to get out to more people. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We greatly would appreciate it for your support of this channel. Cody,
one thing, Derek.
Yeah.
One thing here. So, okay, there's like 600 people watching from the podcast X, and then about 300 people watching from my personal account. Do me a huge favor, real quick, guys. If you could do this, we would greatly appreciate this, all right? Head over to YouTube, click subscribe if you haven't already, hit the like button, and then you can come back. You can watch us on X then. But just do that real quick. Open up a new tab. Do what you got to do.
Or watch it on YouTube since you're already there. You may like it over there.
Yeah, so that's what that would be helpful. But anyway, go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed what he said, guys. Go to the YouTube channel and then be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe if you haven't and do all that stuff. But I greatly appreciate it, guys, wherever you're watching. Anyways, let's kind of hop in real quick, Cody, to we'll hop into like players that we'll talk about the AFC South real quick. Talk about the AFC South and who's been signed there and who hasn't so far. And then we'll kind of talk about players who have gone, who we kind of want to have happen. But let's just kind of look at some other teams, how they're doing right now. So far for the Houston Texans, just looking at them, they have signed Danico Autry to a 2-year, $20 million deal. That's crazy now, Cody. He is about to play for 3 of the 4 AFC South teams in the last few years, man. He played with the Indianapolis Colts, then went to the Tennessee Titans, and now is headed to Houston. So that's a crazy one there. They also got Jeff Okudah out there, got a 1-year, almost $5 million deal for them. Also got Michael Ford, another cornerback for the Houston Texans, but they did lose a couple guys here, man. They brought in, they lost Jonathan Greenard, which was definitely a very surprising one. I expected them to try to retain them, but we are not going to see that. We're not going to be able to see that for them. So they have to now figure out their opposite edge. Blake Cashman, they lost him to Minnesota as well. So they lost him to a good deal. They lost Devin Singletary. So now they don't have, outside of Dameon Pierce, they don't have a running back. And now that was the concern, Cody, was I was hearing from Ruben talking about how Saquon was talking to CJ Stroud about maybe wanting to go to Houston. But now he ended up signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's great. He stays in the NFC, stays away from the AFC South. No problem with that. And then, like I said, there's not many other things that we had happen here. They did lose Cameron Johnston, their punter, and they did just re-sign, or they expect to sign Titans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair to a 3-year deal worth $34 million. That just came up literally a few minutes ago. So, I mean, yeah, sure. Houston got a couple of guys for some depth purposes, maybe some potential starters, but so far I would say they've lost more than what they've gained so far.
Yeah, and I mean, not really a whole lot. I mean, you would have expected, I think, the Texans to be more in on one of these big name free agents, but they really haven't like gone crazy, which is kind of surprising in certain ways. And they didn't really make any moves that make you go, "Wow!" I mean, the Texans are really pushing for a championship, like people think the Colts should do. So it felt like, Derek, honestly, the Texans, like the Colts didn't lose any of their guys that are impact guys. The Texans lost their leading sacker today. Like the guy that led them in sacks, they lost him today. And that's kind of a big deal. I mean, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, they added some guys, but Derek, I mean, does it make up for, the losses you had? I don't know. I don't think it does.
Yeah. The only good thing with Houston right now is they still got 60 mil in cap. Now, with that Zaire pick, that will probably end up putting them around 50. So they still got 50 mil left to be able to spend. So they got a lot of money. Now, there has been talks of Derrick Henry wanting to go to Houston. Now, that would be insane. Not saying that I think that we should worry too much about it, but that has been an issue, and that is something that's been discussed. So there's that with the Houston Texans so far. We go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have had a little bit of a busy day for themselves. They brought in Gabriel Davis for a 3-year contract worth $39 million. That was a name that I kind of wanted to potentially dabble into, but I'm not wanting to pay 13 plus million for Gabe Davis in this offense, not with the wide receiver market the way that it is. They also brought in Darnell Savage on a 3-year deal worth $21 million. Again, another safety that I have my eyes on. Mitch Morse, the center from Buffalo, he got a 2-year deal worth $10.5 million. And Devin Duvernay from Baltimore, he got a 2-year deal worth $8.5 million. This now puts Jacksonville at around $13 million left in cap, Cody, to figure it out. And it may seem like as if they've moved on from Calvin Ridley at this point.
It seems like it's all but inevitable, Derek, that they're going to move on from Calvin Ridley. No question at all. So, yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, I feel like now, Derek, we could, even though it worked out for them, I mean, now they've had 2 big swings at wide receivers in free agency over the last couple of years. So what does that tell you about where they're at right now? I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that like they've gotten better. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think they're about the same. I wouldn't necessarily say they've gotten better. I'd say they're about the same right now.
Right. And I know when we talked about Gabe Davis, we had a lot of people saying, absolutely not. Do not bring him near the Colts. So I'm sure that people are pretty excited that he's going to play for a division rival now, because even though he had potential, he definitely was very inconsistent from what I've heard. So that's definitely interesting. But yeah, it definitely just is like, I mean, is Gabe Davis going to equal the amount of production from Calvin Ridley? I don't know if he will. I guess we'll see. Also, they got Mac Jones. Don't forget Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's funny. I've been trolling Dalton about that so much. I cannot wait for when Mac Jones eventually steals the job from Trevor Lawrence. Just watch. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue to hop into these here. In Tennessee, who has had a really good day so far, Cody, if you ask me. They brought in Lloyd Cushenberry from Denver, gave him a 4-year deal worth $50 million, one of the highest contracts for a center in all of the NFL. So very big one there. Have to have a lot of confidence in that. And then they brought in Awuzie, as I mentioned earlier. So that's another corner to bring in. They did lose Sean Bunting in the process to Arizona, and they lost to Nico Autry, as we mentioned earlier. But they brought in Tony Pollard to replace Derrick Henry here on a 3-year contract worth $24 million. So they brought in their center of the future, brought in a cornerback of the near future, and their another running back of the future in Tony Pollard. So what do you think of Tennessee so far?
I think you're overhyping them. They overpaid for Tony Pollard, Derek. They overpaid for him majorly. They say bad teams are going to be bad, and that's what Tennessee is. I mean, to be honest with you, so it's like you already have Tajay Spears. Why are you paying a guy $24 million? I just don't get that. I don't get it. I don't really think that was wise of Tennessee, to be honest with you.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that in order to figure it out. But Paul Wilson, will there be an AFC South roundtable this week? Yes, there will. As a matter of fact, guys, make sure you tune in to the AFC South roundtable tomorrow night at 7 p.m. There will be a live stream. We will be discussing free agency going forward. So greatly appreciate you guys if you would tune in to that. Tune in and watch, your boy defend the Colts and against the rest of the AFC South. All those guys that, think they have the better insight, but they don't.
Derek, one thing we forgot to mention, Ronald Darby signed with the Jaguars for 2 years for $10 million, just in case you missed that.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
I'm just checking. It's hard to keep up on everything, man. It really is hard to keep up on everything.
It very much is. All right. Well, we've talked about the AFC South. Let's just say, Cody, who are some players still that are available that you would want the Indianapolis Colts to still try to look to get right now, given everything that we know?
Sure. So I think I'll start with the safety room because there's a ton of guys here, Derek, that are still available here. I mean, we've already talked about, guys like Cameron Curl, who's a good safety from Washington, his teammate Kendall Fuller at corner. Those two guys could be options for Indianapolis. Both those guys stood out last year in Washington's secondary. A very poor secondary, but those two guys in particular were like the bright spots in that secondary. So those are two options. I mean, obviously we know Jeremy Chin, former Indiana native and stuff, so he knows the Colts very well, knows Indiana very well. Would be great to bring him around, to be a very physically gifted safety, Derek, and a guy that I think just got kind of lost in the shuffle in Carolina a little bit. He's still young. Obviously, he was drafted the same year as Julian Blackmon, and so it'd be nice to pair those two guys together. So I would love to get Jeremy Chin because I think there's still a lot of potential there with him. And I think there's some other guys too, Derek, when you look at this market overall. And that's a good point, Paul, about between 28 and 32 million left over right now. So that's good news for the Colts, and they still could, like we said, potentially, bring some more in. They really could bring some more in. And so those are just a couple. Who are some other guys, Derek?
From the safety room, especially, I'll just stick with that with you. Of course, I want us to bring Julian Blackmon back, but also I wouldn't mind Justin Simmons, Budda Baker, Quandre Diggs, Rayshawn Jenkins, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then I've talked about Jeremy Chin, so there is still a lot of names here in the safety room that 100% could that could end up, being Indianapolis Colts. And Jeremy Chin's another very interesting one. And it would probably be cheaper too.
Quandre Diggs is another one. He was a little older, but people love Quandre Diggs.
Chase Young is severely overrated. Yeah, I feel the same, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to pay Chase Young a lot of money.
But hey, listen, we still have the option, Cody, for L'Jarius Sneed. We still have the option for L'Jarius Sneed out there, man. There's still room. And anyone that's wondering, is Indy going to have enough cap room to do it? Yes, they will be able to. They will be able to make that deal happen. So don't worry. The Indianapolis Colts will have enough cap space to be able to make almost any move that they want to. It just may end up altering how much they actually get to do. But hey, shout out to the 1,600 people watching, guys, from all of our platforms. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this wonderful Monday evening. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the beginning of the NFL new year. And with this legal tampering going on, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like the stream. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. All that great stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. There's a couple good corners, Cody, that are still out there that we talked about that we would love to be able to keep bringing in. If you're Indianapolis, maybe you don't want to go corner. Maybe you want to go with a corner in the draft and just end up with a veteran free safety in the market, but who knows?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the good thing, Derek, I think you still could realistically re-sign Kenny Moore, and then you could also go trade for L'Jarius Sneed. Like, you could do that, Derek. I do think you could, because, even if L'Jarius, you sign him, who's going to play your slot corner? Like, who's going to play that corner position? I don't know who's going to play that if that's the case,
Yeah.
Are you going to sign L'Jarius Sneed just to primarily play slot corner? I don't think you will. I think you like it more on the outside, right? So
yeah,
I would definitely love to bring him in. And Derek, even with, I know this might be a stretch for the cap, and you could tell me if I'm just dreaming a little bit, but what if you re-signed Kenny and Julian, you made the trade for Sneed, and you went out and got a safety with how poor this market is, and then you restructure some things, you extend some guys, you cut some guys, whatever you got to do to make it work. I think you could do it. I really do think you could do it if you absolutely needed to.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, it 100% could happen if Indy wanted to make it happen. That's the thing. It just there needs to be some things that change. And, I mean, at the end of the day, Indy's going to have to make some room. They're going to have to make some room in the, what the guys they have right now, right? I mean, they have to make some moves there, or else we're just chasing our tail here. It's just kind of how it is right now. So it is what it is. We'll figure that out. Let's go back to the Indianapolis Colts again here real quick. Let's go ahead and hop into guys that we think they might still try to bring back. We talked about Kenny Moore. We talked about Julian Blackmon. As far as Zach Moss goes, Cody, what are you thinking for Zach Moss? There's been reports that Zach Moss and his agency have expressed a mutual interest in coming back to Indy, but he is still testing his options because there are a few teams calling. What do you think of the likelihood of Indy having Zach Moss return?
I would say 50-50. I don't really I could see them if the market's really not where Zach Moss, if it's okay, the difference between, a point whatever to come back to Indy versus not. I don't know. I understand Zach Moss wanting to go out there and look for opportunities, but Derek, just like the safety position, the running back position, it's obviously already devalued, but then it's also extremely saturated with everything that's happened. I mean, there's guys like Aaron Jones still out there, and so how much is Zach Moss realistically going to get from an NFL team, and is it going to be that much of a difference where he's it's worth, uprooting my life basically and going a different way? I don't know. So I'd say it's 50-50. I could see, since the Colts are interested, I could see them figuring out something and getting him for a reasonable deal. I really could, but also, if he wants an opportunity somewhere to be more of the guy, I won't blame him either. And obviously the Colts have, a set price for him, and they're not going to budge on that. I truly believe that Chris Ballard and company, they're not going to budge on that. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think it's about 50-50 for me.
Yep, absolutely. And then talking about the one other thing that happened, Gardner Minshew, no longer part of the Indianapolis Colts. He got himself a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders, a 2-year contract worth $25 million. Much higher contract than I think anyone could have expected for anyone. So congrats to Gardner Minshew getting that bag, man. But now Indy has that situation, Cody, where now they need a backup quarterback. What do you think is the likelihood that they go with someone? What are they going to try to do?
I would probably say a veteran. I just have this feeling because Richardson's still young. It's not like he's this experienced guy that you can just go draft a rookie to sit behind him. So I could see a Tyrod Taylor, Tyler Huntley, that kind of guy at the Colts. I mean, personally, I'm like, go all young guys. Don't go kind of retread guys. But I think the Colts probably will go, more of a veteran route. That's just my feeling that they'll go more of that route.
I mean, and what did you think of the idea of Indy going after Justin Fields if the report is true that he might end up being a backup and his likely destinations are the Colts and the Eagles?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my question is, number one, what's it going to cost, right? Because the Bears obviously have
apparently
this
it sounded like it was $6 million. Apparently.
Yeah. So cost draft wise and also compensation wise. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. And for Justin Fields, because I do think there's still some untapped potential there with Justin, and he's shown flashes, although obviously he's on the market for a reason. But I wouldn't mind that if you could get it for a decent draft capital and you're not really paying that much for him. But he might cost too much with already how the cap is, Derek. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it, to be honest with you. I could see both sides.
Here's my thing, right? So Paul Wilson, thank you for the $5 super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Yes, I am so sad. It's a sad day in Colts land here. Again, shout out to the almost 1,700 people in here watching, guys. Listen, I'm not gonna go on a Justin Fields spew for everything that's going on for Justin Fields. Clearly, he's got a lot of issues still that needs to be fixed as a quarterback if he wants to be a starter in this league going forward. He's got his issues 100%. But I would love for someone to tell me why specifically Justin Fields being a backup for the Indianapolis Colts is a bad idea. Please inform me as to why, because I look at it and I say, you would pay him close to the same amount you did with Gardner Minshew. He's got a very similar skill set to Anthony Richardson, and he could very easily run the Steichen offense the way that it's set up for Anthony Richardson. Because like Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields demands respect of the defense based on his ability to run. And that's what it is, right? And of course, if you had to trade for him to be your backup quarterback, if you're trading for him to be a backup, you're not gonna give up much. You're gonna give up what, a 4th rounder for him? So what? I was saying that you might potentially use that as a draft pick anyway, because that's ultimately what's going to happen is you have that ability to be able to, have him do that. And I think that it would be a great option for if Anthony Richardson were to get into some kind of injuries later this year. It's going to be a great situation if Justin Fields could run a Shane Steichen offense. I do believe that he could. And, maybe the change of scenery will help. But like you said, it ultimately depends on what the contract would be. But I don't think it would be too terrible. But I mean, that definitely could be very much an option. Him being the backup, I think it would be very interesting.
But also the question is, what are you going to do about his 5th-year option? Are you going to pick that up, Derek? I'm not.
True that. Very true.
That's the biggest hurdle for me is that.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because you're right. Like he probably only end up being there for a year, and then if you didn't want to pick up the 5th-year option, you end up just having a situation where he would just end up, just wanting to try to be a starter somewhere else, and it would not go well for Justin Fields for sure. So definitely a very interesting option there. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But
man, I'm just refreshing, hoping hoping that something happens.
Yeah, I'm praying to God something. Just
I would love something today, man. Something outside the building. That'd be nice. Nothing yet.
I'm sitting here refreshing so much. Remember, guys, free agency hasn't even started yet. Okay.
I know. I want Kenny Moore back. That's like the last, you need to bring him back.
I'm convinced
so
that
please.
That I have no idea what the Colts will do. 100%. So, I mean, hey, what were some of the interesting ones today that you saw, man? Like, what of some of these deals? I'll tell you what, I'm so happy Christian Wilkins is going to Vegas. Oh, thank God. Please. Well, I'll tell you what, though, that defensive line for the Raiders, that's tough, dude. Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and that one kid that they drafted out of Texas Tech the other year. Whew,
oh yeah,
that
Tyree
is
Wilson.
A good defensive line right there, dude.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. How about Kirk Cousins to Atlanta? Could Atlanta be good this year?
Hey, that is a very interesting one. Kirk Cousins with that is just insane. I mean, Kirk Cousins, a 4-year deal worth $180 million. Brissett already signed somewhere. Yeah. Well, I mean, that happened recently then, I would think. Because I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. I'm going to look now.
Aaron Jones getting released. Hey.
Yeah. How about that, man? And then the Packers going and signing Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, the running back market's been actually pretty good this year, Cody. I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley getting new homes, and they both got over $12 million a year. That's pretty awesome for them, man.
Yeah.
And then Tony Pollard just got Tony Pollard got his. Devin Singletary got a solid one. We're still waiting on the contracts for Austin Eckler. Because Austin Eckler just went to the Commanders. We don't know for how much yet because the contract details haven't been released yet. But where did Barkley go? Yeah. He went to the Eagles. So,
how about the Carolina Panthers, the most trash organization in the NFL?
They traded DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and Brian Burns, all before the age of 26 years old.
That's insane. That's crazy. Dave Tepper, man, he's ruining that team. That's crazy that they've gotten rid of all these guys. I mean, who do they even have left at this point, Derek? Like, it's so bad, dude. Like, they didn't even get a first-round pick out of Brian Burns. Are you kidding me?
Just to give you an understanding, Cody, this is going to blow your mind. You ready for this? So, the Giants traded Leonard Williams for a second and a fifth to, get rid of him. They just traded a second and a fifth to get Brian Burns. So Leonard Williams, who's not even on the same level potential-wise as Brian Burns, and that's what happens. So, I mean, it's incredible. You're right. They turned down a deal that had 2 first-rounders in it, Cody. They turned that down, and here they are. Now the only get is a second and a fifth out of one of the best edge rushers in the league, and all you got was a second and a fifth because the world told you need to be you care way too much and you need to let go.
Yeah. And you know what's the most hilarious thing of this all, Derek? They weren't willing to pay Brian Burns that money, but then they turn around, they pay an average guard, Robert Hunt, $100 million. Like, what? What is going on in Carolina, dude? 5 years, $100 million, dude.
Robert
What the heck?
Where does he rank? Like among that's hilarious because his average annual salary based off of Spot Track is $12 million. 12 million. They paid him 20 mil. What are they doing?
20 mil. That's crazy.
And they paid that linebacker from the Commanders that 3-year, $36 million contract.
I feel so sorry for Bryce Young, dude. It's bad. It's so bad.
So I know people were still asking about Indianapolis Colts cap. Again, guys, you're looking at, we don't know 100% how every deal is going to go down yet. We don't know how like the deals are structured. So we know how much each of these guys are going to make, but we don't know like if Ballard backloaded these contracts or what. Cody, it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen the Indianapolis Colts backload contracts to try to, free up space for this year specifically. So, I mean, it is what it is here, but Indy still after the Grover Stewart contract and then after the contract for Tyquan Lewis, we can assume they have around $30 million in cap space, maybe a little bit more if they indeed were able to save a little bit of money off of some things. So, it'll definitely be interesting to see how much they actually have left after all this is finalized.
Yeah. I'm going to check Spot Track real quick and see where Indy sits. Okay.
It says 52.8, but they also don't have the Tyquan Lewis deal in there. And
Interesting. I was hoping that they would update that, but I guess not.
Yeah, they're not updated yet. Over the Cap has it.
Do they? Okay, let me check that.
They said that we're sitting at like 49 million. But that was also before the recent deals. So that's where I was telling you I was getting that 30 number at. So
gotcha.
Because when you get Grover and Tyquan, which is 19 million minus the 49 million, so you're sitting at 30, which is right at about where it's at right now.
Gotcha. And if you cut Mo, you restructure a couple, Derek, I think you'd easily get 10 million more if you wanted to.
40 million again. Yeah.
You could.
And then still be able to re-sign Kenny Moore and Julian Blackmon and still be able to make a deal with somebody. So.
Yep. Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see, Derek, how this plays out for the Colts. I do expect, Derek, some moves here in the next couple of days and potentially a trade. That would be great. That would just, I think, make fans feel a lot better, honestly, if the Colts went out and got just one splash guy. That would make fans feel a lot better about where we're at. Because realistically, Derek, I mean, like, there are some, you're like, okay, if we sign this guy, that would definitely help us. But, there are just like a couple moves on defense. You're like, if you sign a quality free safety or if you get a true corner one, you feel really good about where you're at. You feel really good. So a couple splash moves away from, I think, honestly feeling really good about your defense. Because Young, there's a lot of things, a lot of youth, but you need a couple veterans in there, I think.
Justin Simmons could be one in the safety room. Jarius Sneed could be one. I know you were talking about Eric Armstead being brought in, but now that dream is done now that Grover Stewart is back.
Yeah. Right.
Yep, not a thing anymore, guys. Grover Stewart's back. Bro, Chris Jones's extension. What a massive deal for Chris Jones. Chris Jones, whom, by the way, is like what? Isn't he like 31 or like 30 years old? So he'll be 35 when this contract is done and still getting $31 million a year. I mean, holy hell.
I know. That's a lot of money.
Don't get me wrong. Probably the best, most dominant defensive tackle in the NFL right now because of, just what he's been able to do. But I mean, that is quite the deal there, man.
Seriously. That is crazy, man. That's a crazy deal for him. But he definitely deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, man.
Chris Jones and I are from the same place in Mississippi. Nice. Oh, what else do we have to discuss here before we call this? 1,800 of you watching right now. This is insane.
Is that real? Like, is that actually real? I don't know if it's lying to us.
I don't know if it's lying to us or not, but it says there's 800 people watching on the podcast channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I can maybe try to look it up. Hold on. Let me see if I can
yeah. Are you people actually real?
It says it on the, it says it has 800 views on it right now. So, I mean, there's 220 people watching on YouTube and 360 watching on Cody's Twitter, 131 watching on my Twitter, 185 on the Cody Felger Show Twitter, 117 on the BTJ Twitter, and then over 800 on the podcast Twitter. So, I mean, it's insane. I mean, that's crazy, man.
That is. Wow. I don't know if we've ever had this many people. I guess we did.
That many people?
We did when Just Saturday got hired. That's about the only other time we've had anything like this.
I mean, we've had a couple streams game day streams where I've hit this number. But I mean, that was mainly just YouTube, just YouTube though. I bought fake viewers for you guys. I forgot to tell you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Oh man. Well, I mean, listen, man, there's a lot of people that are, pissed off that the Indianapolis Colts haven't signed anyone outside of their own guys back yet. And then there's other people that are saying, hey, we've only been doing this for 8 hours and, we need to keep re-signing our guys back first. It is what it is. Not everyone's going to agree on this.
Right.
Rashawn Nicholson with the $2 super chat. Thank you. More Blackman and Chin, and we are set. Hey, I wouldn't mind that. I didn't see Cousins going to Atlanta. He's 35. He's 36. Dude, yeah, Kirk Cousins is going to be 40 years old when almost 40 years old when that contract ends.
Derek, a little thing about Gardner Minshew, just because he signed. The Colts would get 2025 compensatory picks, a 5th rounder for Minshew, leaving to go to Vegas. So there you go.
Hey, I'm fine with an extra 5th rounder.
Yeah, why not?
With that.
I'd be good with that.
I am fine with that.
Oh, man.
So, Spot Track, when they were updating Grover Stewart's money right off the bat, they accidentally put $390 million, not $39 million. Could you imagine?
Yeah. So Ballard's gonna he's gonna sign a guy at 4 a.m., isn't he? And nobody's gonna see it.
It's gonna be 2 a.m. and then I'm gonna see it at 5 a.m. this next morning because I'm gonna go work out and I'm gonna see it. So
probably that's how he likes to do it, man. He likes to do it the times when we are not available. That's how it always is. I don't know why that is, but that's how it always is. I think he knows, Derek. He knows when we're not available, and he goes after it.
Well, I mean, in retrospect to last year, I mentioned it before, that they did Matt Gay's contract and everybody was almost asleep by then. In fairness to that, Matt Gay lives in LA. So,
That's
Chris
true.
Ballard is in the office at 11:30 at night with these players, but I mean, on the West Coast, it's still partially the evening. Like, I mean, there's still a little bit left of the evening there on that side. So, it definitely is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
If Derek keeps hitting the gym, we'll need Ballard
oh.
to sign him. Bro, I'll go out there. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever to help out. Pay me. You don't even
Derek,
have
it
to
was
pay me
funny.
a lot. I just need like $300K, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it.
So,
Bro, quit stealing my tweets, dude. We
Who?
both responded to Sneed's tweet within a few seconds of each other. Quit stealing my tweets.
Never. No, it's funny.
We steal each other's tweets so much, it's insane.
I was posting about. I did like. Have you watched The Princess Bride? Please tell me you've watched it.
Wait, what's up?
The Princess Bride. Have you watched it?
No.
Oh gosh, chat. Take Derek down.
What's up, Gardaki?
It's a
How
great
you doing,
movie.
man?
You should watch it. You should watch
Okay.
it. But anyway, I was posting a bunch of memes today from it, and I said I'm not going to post one until an extension or still a move is made. And so the Colts heard me, and they re-signed a good majority of their free agents. But maybe tomorrow I'll start posting again. But it was great. It was great.
Yeah, just watching Cody just all day just say like where's the signing? Where's the signing? Where's the signing? It's an everyday thing, folks.
Yeah. What did you think about T. Higgins requesting a trade?
Very interesting there. That definitely is something because I mean, we all presumed that that Bengals would get him a deal. Like, I'm surprised that they haven't. When it comes to the Bengals, they already said Paul Wilson's just spamming pictures in the chat. But anyway, like that's what they even said. Like Joe Burrow wanted to like reduce his contract to be able to help keep T. Higgins there, but I mean, they tagged him, and it's only been a week, so like we all kind of presumed that like, hey, that's probably gonna happen, but like, yeah, he's one of the few guys that even though he got tagged, ended up being one of those guys that was like, nah, I want out of here now, or maybe he thinks that maybe it will help his market. Because, obviously seeing what Pittman just got, right? And T. Higgins is like, I know I'm better than Michael Pittman, so y'all better be paying me $25 million or I'm out of here. Like maybe it's one of those situations.
Yeah, maybe
Cody,
so.
make Derek watch Princess Bride, and then we can watch the stream.
All right. I'll pull it up.
No, you're not.
We're watching it.
No, we're not.
Inconceivable, Derek. You don't even know what I'm talking about. That's what's great.
Houston, Jacksonville, and even Titans upgraded, and we did nothing. Sure. Yeah, if that's what you want to call upgraded, yeah, sure. The only team that potentially upgraded was the Titans. That's it. But Houston has not upgraded yet, and neither has Jacksonville. Okay, so calm down.
Derek getting into fights in the chat. There's always
anybody in this chat. None of you are safe.
He will find you and come to your house.
No, I won't do that. No, I won't do that to
you
guys.
No.
Can we hit 2,000 people in this stream before we end it? Can we hit 2,000 people in this stream before we end this stream?
Away.
If we don't get Sneed, my soul will be crushed. Bro, please. Oh, yeah. Who was that one guy that the Lions just traded for? right? The Carlton Davis,
yeah, that
was
was
that who it was?
who? Carlton Davis, yeah. Yeah.
So, like, yeah, let me look at. Yeah, they acquired. So they acquired Carlton Davis from the Bucs. I don't know how much it actually is going to cost them, but I know it cost them a third round pick for Carlton Davis. The Lions are trading the second of their third round picks this year, plus a 2024 6th round pick and a 2025 6th round pick. So basically 2 6th rounders and a 3rd rounder for Carlton Davis.
That's pretty
Bring
good.
it on, breadstick boy. Paul Wilson, love you, dude. Love you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Derek, we're less than 114 away, 113 away from reaching our goal, 112. I'll just keep counting down until we get there, I guess.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Greatly appreciate you guys.
Yeah, this is wild, man.
Did any AFC team greatly improve their team today? I mean, I can go look at every AFC team and ask. I mean, it just depends.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, Derek, that the Chargers got a tight end today. I know a lot of people have mocked Brock Bowers to them. Could that potentially mean they don't take Bowers where they're projected to take him, and he could fall to Indy? Maybe. That would be interesting.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. I love it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a guy that we both hate that's gone. Bryce Huff.
Oh, I know. There's no way the Colts. Let's be real. Like I wanted him. He was a dream pick.
He's getting 17. He's getting 18 or $17 million a year. I was not expecting the Colts to do that.
Yeah, no. But Derek, I know a name that's been under the radar that people have thrown around is Josh Uche. Do you remember him? He was a former earlier round pick. I think it was a 2nd round pick by the Patriots. And he didn't really play a whole lot last year for New England. But, I mean, he had a season, Derek, where he had a pretty good pass rush year. So, wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard your name that name mentioned before. So,
yeah, I know you'd probably be biased since he's a former Michigan player, but still. He could be helpful.
I don't care much about the Michigan thing when they get to the NFL. It only matters when it's in college. So.
I know. Yeah, so to answer your guys' questions, there's like nearly 900 people. Actually, there's over 1,000 people between the Twitter or X stream and also my personal one. So we're in total with that. Then you throw in, a couple other ones as well. And, the YouTube's about 200. So in total, we're at 1,900 right now, which is awesome.
Yep. Chargers getting alt. Hey, listen, if Brock Bowers makes it to 10, please, Lord in heaven, Colts, go get Brock Bowers. Please.
I wouldn't mind Brock Bowers would be a good fit with Indy. Sorry, I tweeted that and somebody said, don't toy with our emotions when I said welcome to Indianapolis. I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
Oh man.
People are on edge right now, man. People are on edge. Like every little thing you look for. You're like, is that true? Is that true? You're constantly refreshing. It's so funny. That's just how it is.
Yeah, literally. Trade for Matt Judon.
Matt Judon's a good player, man. I would love Matt Judon.
Paul Wilson with another $5 super chat. My guy. Thanks for all the hard work, Cody and Derek. Can't wait for this season. Hey, I appreciate you, my guy.
Thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you for being a member of this channel.
We appreciate you.
Brock is trash. Bro, you know nothing about football if you're literally going to say that.
This is our one contrarian in the chat. So shout out to Jesse. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you are having a great day. Here in weekday number 1 of legal tampering. Yeah.
Zach Hicks is hilarious. He tweeted the exact thing we were talking about. going to sleep early at NFL. Cowards announce record-breaking kicker deals or something already. Like last year.
Yeah, right. That's what we need.
Oh man. All right. Well, unless you got more you want to talk about, I think I may just end this one right here and now.
Sounds good. My battery just died, so that's perfect timing.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this stream, guys. Again, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Almost 2,000 people in this stream, both on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook alike. So greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll continue to bring you guys more of this coverage. We'll continue to be going live throughout the week. And we'll continue to bring more videos as this goes along. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts. Make sure to watch all of the videos that we posted on YouTube today for all the latest things. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much. And as always, go Colts.